Welcome to Bad Gear, the show about the world's most hated audio tools. Today we are going to talk about the IK Multimedia UNO Drum. Not unlike another big continental European player in the synth game, IK Multimedia started producing audio software and plugins in the late 90s. Their T-Rex mastering suite brought me through the first loudness war, and the original version of Amplitude was really nice, for everything but guitars. Since then, the Italian manufacturer from the city of Ferraris, Lambos and Maseratis really upped his game. Controllers, interfaces, studio monitors and microphones, you name it. They added the UNO synth to the product portfolio in 2018 and introduced the UNO Drum 1 year later. Budget-friendly drum machines based on interesting concepts are always welcome, especially when they feature analog voices and old-school 12-bit samples like the UNO Drum. However, IK Multimedia managed to release this instrument in a state that pushed many reviewers over the edge. Even the super professional Stimming was close to losing his Nordic temper.
In my opinion, it's a fail. You messed it up. It doesn't react right. Practically impossible to use.
At the first glance, the IK Multimedia UNO Drum is ticking all the boxes. Kind of. Well, not really. A strange touch interface that gives you less haptic feedback than the controls of a DX7, MIDI on mini jack and a single regular mini jack mono output for all 12 drum voices. You can power the unit via USB and batteries, but it eats up AA's like Pac-Man eats pills. Depending on the power source in use, the drum machine seems to be notoriously prone to noise and hum issues. I only had to deal with the normal noise of the unit when using a proper USB power adapter and a DI box. Still, right out of the box, the UNO Drum didn't work as it was supposed to. I couldn't load or save patterns and kits and had to perform a firmware upgrade first. All this reminds us of the fact that IK Multimedia is still a software developer at heart. The products aren't finished on release, they want your data, they want your soul, and customer support leaves a lot to be desired. Maybe all their product experts are just too busy putting out fires on gear slots. The drum machine comes with a USB cable, which is good, because it is the only USB cable in my possession the UNO wants to be friends with. It is rather short though, and using an extension cord didn't work. As soon as these trivial details are sorted out, things get a little brighter. The lower row of the drum sounds is mostly analog. One modern kick with basic FM modulation. Its more vintage sounding sibling. Snare, hats and clap. Nice. You can switch these pads to sample-based sounds. The upper row offers 5 samples per pad and no analog engine, which is fine. The sounds can be tweaked intuitively and the parameter ranges are well selected. IK released a comprehensive library of additional drum samples you can load onto the machine via USB, which I think is pretty cool. Maximum pattern length of the built-in sequencer is 64 steps, there's a song mode, a compressor and drive stage that didn't do much for me, a stutter effect that should, no sarcasm, be included in every Roland IRA instrument, roll, swing, randomize and a more than usable humanize functionality. As much as I like the flexibility and simplicity of the sequencer, the touchpads are not my cup of tea. It's hard to play a beat on them and they don't react reliably. The 2-zone velocity mode doesn't add to the overall feel either. I would describe the build quality as professional toy, it's portable and lightweight and I'm still not sure if I like the color scheme. UNO drums are readily available and cheap as chips. The UNO Drum packs a lot of punch in a small package. Did IK Multimedia go full on Cyberpunk 2077 and release an unusable disaster? You have already heard the UNO Drum in our little intro tune. the factory samples are a worthy substitute for the original TR-707 drums. As of course is tradition, let's start this off with a TB3 acid jam.
That was pretty solid. The strange touch interface aside, the sequencer is powerful and the drum sounds pack some punch indeed. I didn't make use of the compressor and drive because I had the feeling that the machine was already running into some headroom issues, no matter how careful I set the internal levels, especially when things got busy in the bass region. Stutter is excellent and roll does its job well. As mentioned before, IK Multimedia provides a sample library for the UNO Drum. I went with the most oddball set of sounds in this rather oddball jam. Was kinda weird, but I appreciate that IK included some more unorthodox samples too. The crunchy and lo-fi sound of the sample player engine reminds me of classic drum machines of the 80s, especially when you load the Roland TR soundset. I wanna know how much retro charm we can squeeze out of the UNO in this slightly over-modernized, it's cold outside, it's getting hot in here, underground proto house. Verdict. The IK Multimedia UNO Drum certainly had a rough start. Faulty units, noise issues and a long list of hardware and software bugs might lead to the conclusion that someone didn't do his homework. Even now, some of the bugs and design choices make it hard to use, which is a shame. Both the analog and digital side of the UNO sound nice, and I am tempted to say that it reminds me of the Yomox drum machines I like so much. In a way, it is the polar opposite of an Arturia drum brute. Sure, both are affordable instruments, but while I couldn't find a real musical application for the drum brute, I really enjoyed its feature set, build quality and user interface. The UNO Drum, on the other hand, delivers inspiring sounds, but I wouldn't want to rely on it in professional music production or live performances. It is hard to say which kind of diplomatic magic trick it would take to convince these two European manufacturers to work together, but I am certainly not the only one who would buy a UNO Brute in a heartbeat. Thanks for watching and see you next time! Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Feel free to like, subscribe, become a patron and leave a comment what other kind of gear you would like to see and hear on the show.